Good morning, everybody. It's me, Teri Hunter. It is Sunday, the 9th of August. Good morning, oil painter. Good afternoon, as the case may be. Good day, good evening. Happy Monday, wherever you are in the world. Okay, so this week, I believe it's this week, the 15th, we have Uranus going retrograde. Uranus is going to be joining the retrograde party, which is Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars will be joining shortly in September. So while Uranus thankfully doesn't make any aspects to, not that I'm aware of, if they are, they're harmonious aspects to this Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter retrograde, it is making some aspects to the moon and Venus in ways that can offer pleasure and romance and fun. And these are all going to be intermixed with the squaring aspects. So there's kind of this feeling coming up of a little bit, I want to say a little back and forth, a little skitsy really, because on some level you may be feeling having a good time in some areas, and then other areas may be more challenging and more anxiety ridden. The Mars Pluto square is going to make people worry about their health, worry about death. And interestingly enough, I pulled a Kyle Gray card today, and it was the medicine guardian. So that's interesting to me. So I just want to make you aware of this week, because when Uranus went retrograde into Aries, we had the fires in California literally the day that that happened. So we got to think about what Uranus rules. It rules lightning, it rules electricity, it rules unexpected events, it rules anxiety, nerves, it rules freedom and liberation. So as we're mindful moving forward, we can try to tap into the higher vibrations of Uranus and allowing it to liberate us and free us from whatever has been the recurring theme of this Pluto, Saturn, and now Jupiter conjunction. Because I've noticed a theme. And okay, so they were going forward, and I had my own little meltdown, whatever, a couple of times unconsciously. And then now that they're going retrograde, I'm choosing to behave differently, even though sometimes I feel the same anxiousness or frustration or irritation is a word I want to use. So anyway, in that opportunity to revisit these old dynamics, I can show up differently, and not for the other dynamic or person or situation, but for myself personally. So I can feel that evolution. And I wanted to say this too about the medicine guardian, because the medicine guardian is about paying attention to new information that's coming through to you. And this could be for your emotional health, your mental health, your spiritual health, as well as your physical health. Because as we move into more of this year and we get closer to the presidential election and through the holidays, I feel like there's the tenseness and the vulnerability is going to grow. So these may be alternative ways of dealing with medicine. A couple of years ago, or no, it was about a year ago, when Lada mentioned the medical medium to me, and intuitively I knew to follow that. And I feel like Spirit was teeing me up to have my immune system prepared and to be aware of what I was putting in my body, so that when this pandemic hit, I would be at my optimum, not only for my age, but for my vibration. So I really want to offer that. Yes, he's very akin, I think, to, or similar in energy to Archangel Raphael. And again, that green color represents the heart chakra. So whatever is been ailing you, you're going to be open. You're going to be offered opportunities for new information and new healing. And I want to say it this way, because this information doesn't feel like it comes from traditional modern medicine. It comes from, it feels like it comes from a little bit of thinking outside the box. So, okay, I'm just going to take a quick moment to say hello to people, because I haven't said hi to anybody. So let me back up a little bit. I said good morning to Oil Painter. Good morning, Small Wildflowers. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, 14 Ree. Good morning, Ja Karma. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Cosmo Kid. Good morning, Shelly. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Cece Pups. Good morning, CJ Richards. Good morning, Tebow. Tebow, the Medicine Guardians got your back this week. So there you go. Who else? Did I miss anybody? Patricia, good morning. Marie, good morning. Rita Rana, Hayat, Dawn, Lovable. Okay. Oh, Fernando, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss you. Welcome, Karen. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to our readings. And as you know, I start with Pisces and I work my way towards Aries. It's something I did, gosh, I don't know, feels like 100 years ago during a Mercury retrograde. And I just thought I'd, stick to it. So good morning, Wendy from Trinidad. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to start with our angel deck. Oh, that's very cool, oil painter, making your own sunblock. Very nice. I've been very mindful of my food intake. And yeah, I got to tell you, there's some things I've had to really revisit. And the way they're making my body feel, I'm not enjoying them the way I used to. So, meaning like ice cream and things like that. Okay. Welcome, Kimberly. All right. Yes, we're going to go on to Pisces. Well, congratulations, Shelly. You got a job in El Paso. That's awesome. Okay, here we go. Let's start with our Pisces rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Nikki. Welcome, Debbie TT. Okay, our first angel for Pisces is actually two angels. We have Fiona and Vanessa coming out together. So we're going to put Fiona in the foundational position, and we're going to do Vanessa in the opportunity under the obstacle. That's why they came out. Good morning, Ardia. Ritu Rana, we're going to get to Virgo. We got a little ways to go. In the angel's advice, we have Maya. And in the final position, we have Ariel. Okay. Oh, I know, Patricia. I made a medical medium ice cream last night, and it actually wasn't too bad. But if I tell you what was in it, you'll be like, ugh, that's not ice cream. Okay. All right, here we go. Pisces. Fiona is being joined by Merlin. Vanessa is being joined by the Wasp. Maya is being joined by the Fear card. And Ariel is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Okay. So Fiona talks about and says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open and to receiving their guidance. And I want to say it this way, because to me, this is really not about, if you look at Fiona, she's in a very joyful energy. Okay. She's almost excited. And her hands almost feel like they're in some sort of song prayer. And then I have Merlin. Merlin talks about alchemy, justice, and balance. And I want to say it this way because, again, the dynamics of any year can be challenging. The things that we walk through, the relationships, we all have looked and said, oh my gosh, another year. And then 2020 comes in and blows the socks off of every other year. So I really feel like this is about allowing for whatever is breaking away, because in some ways you've karmically agreed to come into balance. And in many ways, God and the angels are going to present the opportunities for you to display the balance that you want to feel on the inside. And I feel like when I say that, I'm going to go to the final position and then I'll go back, because here's Ariel saying that your spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world. And then there's the Lady of the Lake, which represents represents courage, absolute truth, self-respect, and responsibility. So for Pisces, I want to put it this way. I feel like overall in relationships, whether they be work relationships, intimate relationships, family relationships, you've come to a dynamic where you no longer want to, how can I put it? I don't want to say placate and I don't want to say support, but there's certain energies that are out of balance for you that you're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So rather than than continue on an old path that you have been purporting in these dynamics. I think you're going to shift things up because in the opportunity or the obstacle, Pisces is kind of done with what's been going on, done with, and I want to put it this way, because Vanessa is giving you an opportunity to make decisions based on faith and to be able to see where your fears have kept you locked into dynamics that you don't want to be in anymore. So fear is transforming into false evidence appearing real. And in the angel's advice, Maya is teaching you about the fears that you had, that you have, and where they are viable and where they are just projections. So in many ways, when we think about now, Mars isn't quite square this cluster of planets, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. But as we get closer and closer into the shadow period, which we're stepping into, it's the 9th of August, a month from now, I think, is the day that Mars will actually go retrograde. So I feel like as that square happens and it creates this tension, it's going to create a vulnerability, maybe a little bit of fear about the body, maybe about a little bit of fear about being able to actually effectually take action. So within this, it's your job to connect with spirit and to be able to sit in a bit of uncomfortableness. And then allow yourself to identify where your anger has actually tripped you up and to start maybe um, trying to display a little bit more faith. And sometimes faith is not about faith in the outcome. It's just about turning away from a situation and not letting yourself be irritated by it. Because again, there's Maya saying false evidence appearing real and how you're going to learn about that. And it's going to take a bit of courage as you walk through a bit of an emotional storm. As you sit here, you rise above what is seemingly on the outside and you're recalibrating it because you have the power of the grand wizard behind you and also spirit. Okay, so that's where I'm going with that. All right. Yeah, and I feel like it's also because Mars is so. I'm looking at Patricia. She's saying yes. Watch your body as it goes retrograde on the 9th of September. I think it's also because Mars is so predisposed to just move, move, move. I see where I want to go and I bolt through. Pay attention to where you're going because bolting may, you may walk off a curb and then end up with a little bit of a fall on your tush kind of situation. And it may be metaphorically, it may be emotionally, you have a knee jerk reaction to something. What I've noticed as this retrograde between Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, I wanted to be super conscious of the things that irritate me. And the first time it went around, I was like, you're doing this bad thing. I was like finger pointing. This time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to actually shut the window, be quiet, put on some headphones, and let it move past. Because I want to try to take a different take and give spirit an opportunity to stop micromanaging from irritation, which is what the wasp is saying. Okay, so let's go on to our Aquariuses. That's Aquarius, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. We're moving on. I think somebody asked what the RX was in the title. That's an abbreviation for retrograde. So we have Uranus going retrograde this week on the 15th. Uranus is going to be it's going to be all the way through to January 18th, 2021. So there's going to be a lot of unexpected events, a lot of things that create liberation. And I kind of don't want to harp on it, but I really think that the presidential election in the United States is going to reveal a lot of unexpected events. We're going to see things that you can't even really imagine right now because they're outside of our wheelhouse of imagining, but we're going through such a revolutionary time. And while in the past there was like revolutionary wars and there was the Civil War, I don't believe we're going to go to gun battle here, but I do believe that we're walking into a bit of a battle as we go into this it's about the liberation. The reason that we had the American Revolutionary War is because people wanted their freedoms. It's the same dynamic right now. And that's what Uranus rules. And then when you think about Mars and you think about it at its highest vibration, the truth seeker, the spiritual warrior, up against whatever restriction Saturn and old antiquated government is giving, that's where we're going to start to see it's going to appear very disruptive. And your job as a soul is to decide what's so important to you that you're willing to either go into that battle or step out of it, because maybe stepping out of it is actually the most powerful thing you can do to diffuse it. So, all right. I'm not trying to start a political conversation per se, but I do believe that these events have a tremendous effect, not on just the United States, but everybody worldwide. So, oh yeah, does Joe Biden have his moon in Taurus? I have my moon in Taurus, thank you very much, at 9 degrees. So yes, I'm going to be experiencing the retrograde and back. But I want to say I was really conscious of my Uranus transit on my moon. And because I think I was aware of it, I started to seek the higher vibrations of what Uranus has to offer. And so while it wasn't easy for me because my Mars wants to take action and my moon is stubborn in Taurus, it by doing something different and by stepping away from what I know irritates me, I actually saw improvement and I saw the universe do things. Even the weather was supportive. Okay, let's go on to our Aquariuses that are ruled by Uranus and Saturn traditionally. Yes. Oh my goodness, Nikki, I forgot about Beirut. God bless Beirut. That poor woman who was getting married. Oh my goodness. That video was crazy. Okay. Welcome, Benilly. So nice to see a new face in the room. Good morning, Crystal. Welcome, BM. Kimberly, welcome. Goddess Essence, it's good to see you here again. Okay, so for our Aquariuses, and for those of you that are new, I go backwards. I start at Pisces and I work my way towards Aries, so we're just on our second sign right now. Welcome, Marigold 505. Welcome, Elfie. Okay, for Aquarius, Shanti is our first angel. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Layla. And the final is Indriel. Welcome, Shamika. Welcome, Trish. Welcome, Christine. So good to see you all. Joining our Sunday morning tribe. For those of you that are new here, we have an interactive experience here where we support each other and hang out and do this Sunday morning, and we share ideas. We share ice cream and coffee. Thank you, Nikki. It's pretty fun. Okay. Oh, from Mexico. Okay, here we go. Welcome, Gemma. Okay. You have no idea how you found us. That's spirit leading you this way. Welcome, Melmore. Okay, joining Shanti for Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums is the Truth card. Joining Archangel Michael is Merlin. Joining Layla is Baird. And joining Indriel is the King. Okay, so as I'm pulling the cards, I realize there's so many new people that as I do this spread, I'm going to explain to you what the positions mean as well. So for Aquarius, in the foundational position for this coming week, the angels are talking. Shanti is the angel of peace. Okay, but before peace may come in, whatever's disrupting that peace must be addressed and removed. And so Spirit is really asking you to seek the truth this week, to look deeply into what creates your peace. And I want to say this too, because oftentimes we will inadvertently identify an outside source as disrupting our peace, but it's our perspective that that really dictates our peace. So I was just saying that during this first, when Pluto and Saturn became in conjunction and Jupiter came in, I was having a certain way of being that was very upset about an injustice. And in the retrograde, I'm able to really reveal a truth, okay, is that I got nowhere by being indignant and being upset about things that weren't fair when people didn't care whether they were fair to me or not. So in order for me to have peace, I had to go to a bigger truth, which was that I had no power over the situation. So, and I'm saying this because in the opportunity or the obstacle is Archangel Michael, the great protector, but also asking us to have courage. And the courage comes as we allow for this karmic dynamic. Merlin is the grand wizard, offering alchemy, balance, and justice. And this sometimes the justice has nothing to do with us implementing that justice. It sort of has to play itself out. So in the angel's advice, it's interesting to me because the Baird talks about history usually. here. And there's Layla. And Layla talks about connecting with spirit. And I want to put it this way for Aquarius, because you know, the old saying, music calms the beast. I feel like this Baird right now is really not about going down into your story. I feel like if you go into the story of what has been, it will be disruptive. It will disrupt your peace. So the truth is that maybe I have to turn away from what was disruptive because I have no power over it. So I have to leave it to spirit and have the courage to know that there is somebody that's got a bigger hand on it. And maybe for Aquarius, rather than spending time in nature, maybe it's time spending time listening to some music. I find music to be incredibly soothing to the soul. And not just when I'm anxious, but when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm an array of emotions. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we talked about playlists that can inspire you. I feel like that's important because for Aquarius, there's Indriel, the light worker, and then there's the king. And the king is about justice, just the way Merlin is. It is about, it says male authority, justice, things pertaining to the law. And I want to talk about this. This is universal law. So for Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Stellium is 4 or more planets in one sign or house. It's a time to reflect on what disrupts your peace, to get real with your truth. And the truth is not about what you think other people will be able to swallow or what other people will approve of. I really think it's about the truth of your own heart. And it may be in some ways a raw truth, and it's time to have courage so that Merlin can offer you balance and bring in a karmic dynamic where you shed the skin and are able to move into a new chapter. This is all what 2020 is about. And 2020 is starting a whole new decade. I mean, that has been completely lost in all the other dynamics of 2020. So in some ways, this year, 2020, reduces down to a 4, 2, 2. And 4 is the basis. It's the foundation. It's the square that we build the house on. So we're building the new decade moving forward. So for Aquarius, it's time to assume the position of authority in your life, to shine your light into your deepest truth, and then to allow yourself to let whatever, and I want to say waves, wash away the disruption so that that peace and that truth can live and breathe in the outside world. Okay, going on to our Capricorns. Welcome, Elizabeth. I haven't seen you. I didn't see you till just now. Welcome, Tammy Sonderbar. Did I miss Elfie? I said hi to you. Hi, Miriam. Good to see you. Kimberly Allen, great to see you. Carla, Greg, welcome. Annaline, Shelly. Okay, cool, everybody. Oh, Cosmo Kid, you're going to be 60 next month. Welcome to the new decade. I just joined the club last October. Oh, you're so funny, Stephen. Now I'm going to have hokey pokey stuck in my head all day long. Okay, let's go on to our Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And if you have a stellium in Capricorn, you are really in a transformational place and have been for quite some time. Thank you, Sophia. Okay, start with our angels and see what they have to say. Welcome, Anna, from South Africa, Annalie. I'm so glad. So you're new to the tribe. So let me just quickly say, for those of you that are new to the tribe, what my intention is here on Lada's channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. And each week we come together on Sundays so that the angels can give you advice for traversing the transits. And this is really about utilizing the powers of the stars, the skies, all this energy that we don't see with our eyes, and harnessing it so that we can act as light beams for a higher vibration here on the planet. Okay, so, well, congratulations. We're all so many of us at that seasoned age where we can garnish, use our wisdom and marry it together without that angst. Okay, here we go for Capricorn. Isaiah, it's time to give birth to new ideas and new situations. And Indriel, the light worker. Then we have Crystal saying have faith and hope, there's more on the horizon. And then we have Desiree. And Desiree will talk about the conditions of things. Okay. We're getting a little more detail. Capricorn, the Isaiah is being joined by the power and strength card in the form of the dragon. Indriel's being joined by the wind fairy. Crystal's being joined by the cat. And Desiree's being joined by the spider. Okay. So Isaiah talks about giving birth to new ideas, new situations, and that you're being watched over and protected. This is very much for me, Capricorn. You've been going through this for the last 2 years, since December 2017, when you moved into your natural sign of Saturn. It was really about revisiting your power and your strength. And was your power and your strength coming from following all the rules to such a strict adherence? If we think about what Capricorn rules, the people that are ruled by Capricorn sometimes they're going to have self-doubt. They're going to take things from a very responsible point of view. If I don't do this, it won't get done. You'll soldier on. Even if something is distasteful to you, you will continue to get it done because it's what's expected of you. So I feel like this has really been an opportunity for Capricorn to think about the rules and the regulations and what those rules are, and to form a new government within your own mind. And I say that because the wind fairy here is not talking about over-analysis to me here or overthinking. It feels like it's really about rewriting the rules. This is about, if we think about the wind fairy, it would be akin to Gemini or to Virgo and Mercury. And Mercury is all about gaining information, about learning, about knowledge. And I feel like this is about Capricorn giving birth to new ideas, that your power and strength comes from actually shining your light, what is true to you. So let's say that you're a Capricorn who loves astrology, but you work at the market and you stack vegetables all day long, and you don't enjoy stacking vegetables, but you've been afraid to really, can I make a living doing astrology? It's time to dig down to the deeper truth, because in the angel's advice, we have the cat, which represents healthy boundaries. It represents independence. And then we have Crystal saying, have faith and hope, because there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And that happens as a result of you recalibrating where the rules come from. Do they come from the human dynamic? And I'm not saying to go rogue and not to follow the rules of society. They're there for a minute, or for a reason. I shouldn't say for a minute. They're there for as a what's the word I'm looking for? A broad strokes kind of thing, I want to say, because in our own individual lives, I really do believe this is about writing our own rules, because this is what I want to say. Inadvertently, Desiree is saying to be careful about getting stuck in an old pattern. Normally, the spider represents relationships for me, and I feel like this is a relationship with the way you think, the relationship with your own rules, your own regulations, your own sense of ethics and integrity. And I feel like over these next few months, we talk about Uranus going into a retrograde in Taurus. Taurus is the second house. Taurus represents our possessions, our money. Maybe this is an opportunity for Capricorn to reassess all these dynamics about how you feel powerful in the world, how you feel like you're making your way in the world, and then take it to another deeper level. Does it really align with a spiritual dynamic with which you want to, I want to say, feel? I've been feeling a lot of emotion from Capricorn over the last year, especially, almost trying to relate to people and themselves from a new dynamic, and taking some of those harsher aspects of Saturn and recalibrating them. So I feel like over this next week, as we walk through this, be mindful that part of this giving birth to new ideas and your power could be in how you're relating to others. And so rather than taking action, this is what I found, that oftentimes my initial reaction to something that I find distasteful is not pleasant. So I've learned how to hold a pause so that I could affect and show up in a way that I would want someone to show up for me. So that's where I'm going with that. And now I'm going to move on to our Sagittariuses. Goddess energy says Capricorn is very in their emotional body and not in the way most would perceive. I agree. And it's that perception, goddess energy, that I think we've been recalibrating for Capricorn. So they don't seem so stoic or so strict or so, intimidating in following the rules. And so we can see that. I always think of this chiropractor that I used to work for who was really kind of funny because whenever he got mad at me, he used to always yell, "Terry, whose name's on the door?" Because his name was on the door, right? So he owned the place. But boy, you told him a sad story, or you told him something about a puppy or something that happened, and he would well up, and then he'd pull it back, and you'd see him well up. And I always thought, boy, just let that out a little bit. So I think that's kind of what Capricorn's going through right now. So let Uranus liberate you from the emotions that have been making you feel stoic or making you feel obligatory. And rather than going completely rogue and rebelling, giving yourself a chance to adjust to it, because that's what Capricorn's going to want to do, adjust to the new idea, to mull it over, and then to slowly start to implement it so that it becomes structure for you. All right, let's go on to Sagittarius. Okay. Okay, so for our Sagittarius, our first angel is Akasha. The second is Fiona. The third is Sonia. And the final is Vanessa. Akasha is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Fiona is being joined by the Burden card. Sonia is being joined by the Hawk. And Vanessa is being joined by the Focus card. Okay, so Akasha is a spiritual teacher. When I think about Sagittarius, okay, let me back up for a second. Because we think of Gemini as the teacher, but when we go to Sagittarius, we're going to higher education. So I feel like what I'm looking at this week is this. Akasha says you're a spiritual teacher and you have the ability to counsel others, awaken your spiritual gifts. I think that this is about having the courage to awaken your spiritual gifts in a higher vibration. Like I want to put it this way. I feel like Akasha is not necessarily saying that Sagittarius is a teacher while you are, but to allow yourself, the teacher, to be taught. Because there may be something that you have to learn. This always is very interesting to me, how the Lady of the Lake is coming up through such stormy seas, and the water is literally dripping off of the sword Excalibur, the sword of truth. This is not an easy energy, but it's about having the courage, the self-respect, the responsibility to allow your spiritual gifts to awaken. That's what I think this is about, to start to really tap into the Sagittarian higher dimensions of education, the connection to the angelic realm, the more broad concepts of manifestation, of the laws of attraction, of spirituality and metaphysics and those kind of things. Because in the opportunity obstacle is the Burden card and Fiona. And it almost feels like we just talked about Fiona saying that, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And it feels like the burden is being open to receiving. It's almost like, it feels like this. It feels like Sagittarius is like, if I just sit in my house on my couch, how am I going to make money? Or if I'm sitting on my couch, just sitting here, okay, God, bring me this. It feels a little kooky. The human being is predisposed to have an idea and then take action. So I think that the burden comes from is being able to take the guided action, to actually kind of doing the baton pass, where you put the intention out there and then you wait for the sign and the omen. And here we go from spirit, because it's about looking for signs and omens. The Hawk is about rising above a situation and looking to spirit to guide you. And then here is the card that represents a deceased loved one. So for Sagittarius, this is a time when you are going through a dark, in some ways, I want to say it's not dark like dark, heavy, sad, but it feels like I'm walking down a dark hall and I can't find the light switch. That's how I want to put it. And it's going to take courage to continue to walk down the hall, because when I do, there's something to be learned about how I go down the hall. I hope that makes sense. Sounds kind of funky, because Vanessa is saying you're going to make your decisions based on faith or fear. And then this is all about focus. So there's lots of dynamics going on in the stars, but right now we have Uranus going this week retrograde. And I said earlier that when this happened, when it was in early Taurus and it moved back into Aries, we had fires. So there is the potential that this week something unexpected will happen. And as a result of that unexpected event, you have something to learn or to teach about acting in a way that's congruent and authentic to your truth. And in doing so, being responsible for the outcome of your own heart. And in some ways, also turning over the physical outcome to spirit, which may feel like a burden. But when you do that, you will get signs and omens that the energies you're purporting are either working for you or against you. And then you'll be able to really delineate whether you are being based on faith or fear, and then course correct. So when I was having this whole challenge and I was right in my facts, but my energy was all wrong, because my energy was like, it was very Aryan. And as a result of that, I did not engage. I did not use my Libra diplomacy to engage people into what I wanted. And so I went through months of frustration and months of being just up here, pissed off. And then I realized it wasn't working for me. No matter how right I was, no matter how much I had all the facts, I had to go back and I had to learn something about how I was showing up and my truth. And I had to leave the burden. It was a burden to leave it to spirit. But once I did, I started to see so many signs and omens of how they were taking care of things that I could never have done. And it helped me focus. What am I going to focus on, faith or fear? And for a while, that feeling like I had to micromanage the situation was clearly fear-based. And it didn't get me anywhere. So there you go. Here we go on to our Scorpios. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea. And if anybody wants to hit the like button, I wouldn't be mad. Just kidding. Okay. Oops, let me start with the angels. For Scorpio. Good morning, Lisa5988. Welcome, welcome. I think if I miss anybody. Is that Ariko? Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Good morning, Frankie. Our first angel is Ariel. The second is Crystal. The third is Mystique. And the final is Astera. Thank you, Elfie. I want to say this for Scorpio because, you know, Pluto rules you, and regardless of what's going on in your chart, Pluto is all about transformation. It's all about taking something that's been hidden and in the dark and seems ugly and transforming it into something beautiful. And as I said that, the image of the butterfly came to me. So when I'm thinking about Scorpio, Ariel's being joined by the stag. I'm thinking it's very much about allowing this year to unearth the things that have been hidden and to move towards the things that are most authentic to you, and then let the Pluto vibration at its highest frequency show you and prove to you that your intentions and because when I think about Scorpio, I think about that intuitive side, but it's intuitive from a suspicious place. It can be a little it starts off that way, I should say. It doesn't mean it ends that way, but and so now I think it's about transforming that from, looking for the hidden meaning into knowing the hidden meaning and trusting this inner knowing, and then allowing yourself to take, I don't want to say calculated, but I want to say thoughtful action, strategic action. I don't know why. All right. So now we have Crystal being joined by the movement card. We have Mystique being joined by the owl. And then we have Astera being joined by the frog. So Ariel talks about psychic and spiritual experiences changing the way you view yourself and the world. And there is the stag. And I want to say it this way because in some respects, the stag will represent stubborn pride. But I feel like this is about leadership and allowing spirit to bring. I just got done saying that I feel like there's some things that are going to be coming up, deeper truths. And there may be truths within your own heart. There may be imbalances within relationships, and you just keep shaving off more and more of what you think you want to conform to the other party and make it palatable for them. And yet at the same time, it's becoming less and less palatable for you. And I think that needs to be acknowledged because Crystal is saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And there's the movement card. Then we have in the angel's advice, Mystique saying to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. And we have the owl, the deception or wisdom. Keep moving ahead, figuring out, looking into the deepest part of who you are, Scorpio. What is the wisdom and what is deception? Where can you move forward in a more faith-based place towards the wisdom of what you really want to experience? Because Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not compromise, because it will offer you emotional cleanup. I want to offer it this way. This Pluto energy for me, I've thought about it because it rules death. And turning 60 made me feel a little vulnerable. I've never felt vulnerable to my body. I've always felt very vital and very strong. And I've had to really think about where these fears are coming from. Are they mine? Are they partially coming from the outside stimulus? What's going on? And in doing so, I guess I want to put it this way. I feel like Scorpio, you have an opportunity to take this challenging dynamic and turn it around. And I mean, turn it around in a really big way. So as you start to say to spirit, what is the story that I'm not listening to? Or what is the truth that I'm not paying attention to? Or what am I pretending not to know? And then I'm willing to stand in leadership of that instead of stubborn pride. Because I feel like there's a part of Scorpio that's going to have to move on an intuition. It's not going to be able to move on something that is like solid in the ground or says step here, step there. It feels the opposite. And that's why Spirit is saying keep charging ahead and follow what you intuitively know in your gut and what's speaking to you on that deep level, not what you're hearing on that superficial level. Because Astera says that as you reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, not to compromise, because that's where you're actually going to see Spirit put circumstances or information or dynamics that are going to confirm what it is that you're whatever's happening with Ariel, whatever spiritual experiences is coming through is going to help anchor you into leadership for yourself so that you can jump from one lily pad to another. I hope that makes sense. So rather than feeling stuck in a pattern of where I'm going with this, Scorpio, is there something that feels like I've been overly compromising or shaving off things about myself or keeping things to myself that are my truth, and I don't think you'll appreciate it or you'll agree with it. So I'm going to kind of dumb it down. And I think it's the absolute opposite. I think it's allowing whatever is underneath to come up that's true for you, not the ugly part. We all have an ugly part of us, but the deeper truth of what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel loved in a relationship, and taking a bit of a risk, because Crystal is asking you to have faith. You can't have faith without a risk. She promises movement ahead that you can't see, and there is the movement card. So allowing the Uranian energy that's coming up, because we're basically in the storm period of the Uranus retrograde right now, and allowing yourself to be liberated. And that may start off with a sense of anxiety, a sense of because the anxiety feels like it comes from, if I'm true to me and what's true to me, will you still like me? Will you still be there for me? Will you still want to be in a relationship with me? And that's scary. And that's sometimes why we keep things to ourselves. So I feel like when you're brave, and this is not about disclosure to others of dark secrets, it's about disclosure to oneself and self-acceptance. That's where I think that is. And that's where I get to release the emotional baggage. Okay. I know, Don, nobody's listening, but that's fine. It's all about community. They'll go back and listen to their sign afterwards. That's why we put the timestamps in. I don't care. I mean, I care if you listen, but I know that you guys are listening. I like seeing everybody kibitzing in the chat, because they come back and forth, and they feel connected to one another, and that's how we can support Tebow when he goes and has his procedure this week. And so it's okay. I don't mind. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go on to our Libras, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Yeah, give me a like. There you go. All right. Here we go. Libra, Libra, Libra. Thank you, Brianna. Okay. We're on our way to Leo, Christine. We'll be there soon. Okay, for Libra, our first angel is Azure. The second is Chantal. The third is Sonia. And the final is Archangel Michael. So, Chantal talks about romance. Let's see what's happening for Libra and partnerships. There is some aspects on this Uranus retrograde that are making harmonious aspects to Uranus is making harmonious aspects to Venus and the moon. And I don't know quite how that works, because the moon is obviously moving around, but it has something to do with another star called Alhenna. And that's about fun, and about the combination brings more fun and more romance, more Venusian things and more moon things. So, BM, you're a Libra moon. Terrific. Okay. So Azure is being joined by the serpent. Chantal is being joined by the novice. The Earth Fairy is joining Sonia. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the restriction card. Okay. So I want to say it this way, because the first position is our foundational position. The second is our opportunity and or our obstacle. It's not necessarily something that's in the 3D world just yet. So we have Azure saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And then we have the serpent. The serpent is about healing and knowledge, but it's also about shedding a skin. And I want to say it this way, because as I look at this, it very much feels like it's about relationships. It feels like it's a little bit more focused on the single person, I'll say, versus the person who's already coupled up. But I want to put it this way, because it does not exclude the people that are already coupled up. In our opportunity and our obstacle is Chantal, and she says that romance is imminent. Romance is coming, either the reignition of an existing romance or a new romance. And then here's the unstable new beginning in the form of the novice. And what I see here, or when I look at it, I felt like there are Libras of a certain age that may be like, well, that ship has sailed. I'm good. I'm taking care of me. It's all good. I'm balanced. I feel just in all of this. I'm good. But I don't think that that's necessarily the case, because we have Sonia. This represents our deceased loved one and our guides and our angels, that our personal team, not just the general ones. And then there's the Earth Fairy. This talks about physical health, grounding, and foundations. It looks like Taurus or Earth signs to me. And when I think about it, I think, okay, so here's Uranus moving backwards in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus rules love. And so I think that there may be an opportunity for Libra to recalibrate their perception of love. And in recalibrating their perception of love, intimate love, it can open up opportunities to move forward. Because when I look at the restriction card lately, it just feels like Saturn. And Saturn feels like it's restricting my ability to have courage to think that what I want is actually going to happen. And so in some respects, I have to sort of be like the snake and allow for this shedding of a skin. And whenever we're releasing an old pattern, it's kind of painful. It kind of pulls at you, you know, it's like, and even if the pattern is distasteful, there's some sense of security about the familiarity of it. So if you've been protecting yourself, Libra, I'm good, I don't need a relationship, I'm good, but you really want one. And you think to yourself, well, I really want one, but I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this. All of those things are symptoms of protecting yourself, not wanting to fall into old patterns. So now it's time to give birth to new ideas about love and to connect with your spirit guides to anchor that new idea about love. And then to be courageous in looking where you've been restricting yourself from love. Now, I'm a Libra, so I can say this. When I think about being in a relationship, I think more about the challenges than I do about the opportunities of it. And as I think about the challenges, I know perfectly well that it's a stop. It's a block. It's a piece of wood in the spoke. It will not allow the wheel to move forward. And as I've gotten older and I've had people do my astrology chart, they tell me that, you know, whatever it comes to my partner sector, that I have planets that reflect that I'm looking for somebody who basically doesn't even exist on the planet. You know, there's a K2 Sun conjunction thing. And anyway, and I've thought about how these people dance around my love life in my natal chart. And they tiptoe and they try not to say what they think is sad things or negative things. And, you know, they never give life to my intuition around that. And so this is where I'm going with this. I know that the aspects in my chart require a strong leader in my love sector, a strong person, man, thank you very much, who can stand toe to toe with me, who can not change me, but allow me to be myself. No matter what that dang chart says, I'm still going to believe that's possible. No matter how old I get, I'm still going to believe that's possible. And the only reason I don't think it's actually happened yet is because Teri wanted to anchor into who she is today. And she's still doing that. She's still making who she wants to be as an individual solid for herself. So I'm not going to throw myself under the bus and say it's not happening because I'm older, or it's not happening because of blah, 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 blah. There's a ton of stories out there. I'm going to own my own vibration, my own trepidation, and say that when I'm ready, truly ready, it will be presented. So there we go. All right. That's what I got for love for Libra. Let's go on to Virgo. Okay, I'm gonna do a little quick sip of my tea. All right, so this is Virgo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Yep, this is listen to this. It's your ascendant. I've been studying, you know, I study astrology all the time, and I've been looking at the first house again. And I read something that, while I knew it cerebrally, I hadn't really anchored it into how I view things. But the first house, whatever sign that is, whatever planets are in there, are really setting the foundation for your perception. So I have an Aries rising, and I'm very decisive. I see something and I can immediately decide whether I like it or don't like it, except when it comes to food. But now let's say Capricorn rising. A Capricorn rising may say, what responsibilities will I have when I endeavor this? Sagittarius rising may say, ooh, exciting. Good things are happening. I'm excited about the expansion. So as we look at things from our rising sign, we're going to see ourselves, and the sign will indicate how we how our perceptions are initially formed. That's how I want to put it. Okay, so here we go. Virgo, our first angel is Indriel. The second is Xana. The third is Oceana. And the final is Yvonne. Okay. Indriel is being joined by the cat. Xana is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Oceana is being joined by love. And Yvonne's being joined by fear. You know, the minute I look at this Virgo, I feel like I'm seeing Indriel, the light worker. I don't think that at this point she's talking about being a light worker in service to spirit. I think this is about shining your light on the universe and the world at large. I feel like it's fifth house activity, as if, you know, the fifth house rules our creative expression. It's the house where once we have integrated into the physical experience, we now want to express ourselves in that physical experience in our authentic way. And I feel like Indriel is saying that it's time to be independent in how you express yourself to the universe and to the world at large. I want to, when I say individual, I mean it like this. Virgo is a sign that is another one that works hard, it's practical, it's dependable, it's reliable. If you give a Virgo an assignment or a job to do, they will get it done, and they will get it done expeditiously because they're predisposed to do that. They won't necessarily look to see whether they like the job or it's been the task that's been given them. So I feel like for Virgo, Indriel is saying, what do you like? What makes your light shine? What turns you on? And be independent and allow yourself the privilege of that. Give it a ninth life. It has 9 lives, because the Lady of the Lake is here in the opportunity, the obstacle, asking us to be courageous in our truth, to stand in respect of our truth and to be our truth. And then we have the protection card in the form of Xana. Xana, this conjunction between Pluto and Saturn, and now Jupiter, and then the square to Mars, these aspects don't happen all the time. You know, we have Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year. I think 3 times a year. We have other planets that move retrograde, and they don't necessarily form these angles. This conjunction and these squares are only happening once every 184, 200 years. You know, the comet, thousands of years before we can see that comet. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we have contracted as souls, as evidence in our birth chart, to be here at this time, at whatever age we're at, whatever experiences we've had on this Earth's journey. It's now time to be brave, to allow the truth of who we are to be expressed. And Xana is here saying, this is what we've been here all along. And then there's Oceana saying to take action, Virgo. You're in touch with your truth. Now it's time to do what you love, be what you love, be who you love, and love who you want to love. Because now is a time to be vulnerable and also to identify where false evidence is appearing real. I want to put it this way, because it's really hard in relationships when you know, in family relationships and love relationships, when we've been, I want to put it this way. I'm just going to say it really straight up. Let's say that you are gay and you have kept that to yourself because you think if I did that, I would be not acceptable in my family and circle of friends. And I feel like it's not about disclosing that to those other people. It's about allowing yourself to ask yourself, is the way I'm showing up out in the world making me happy? Because I think it's time to make me happy, Virgo. Now, let me change that. Let's say you want to be a writer or you want to be an actor, And all your family and friends say, aren't you a little old for that? I don't know, that's for young. And then if you're young, they'll say, oh, well, that's not a good enough, stable enough career. Whatever Virgo wants, whatever Virgo is true to the light shining within you, and then allowing yourself the privilege of being that independent, beautiful soul that you are, knowing that you're protected as you stand in self respect for whoever you are, whatever that form of love, taking action on it, and then allowing yourself to walk through a little bit of that fear and being vulnerable to asking yourself the question, is this false evidence appearing real? So let me go to another scenario. In my particular family, um, it's not really good for me. I'll just put it that way. It's always very stressful, very crazy. And I tend to mask. When I get there, I'm so nervous that I don't eat and I tend to overdrink. And basically, I haven't seen them in a long time. But my point is this. As I got older and I hit certain markers, I started to ask myself, is being in this pool of people actually serving my happiness, or does it just really make me miserable? But I'm so used to being in this pool of people. They're my DNA. They're my sister, my dad, my mom, my stepmom, my brother-in-law. They were not making me happy. I sat in front of a judge and jury every single time, which made me want to mask, which made me act out like an idiot, which became this vicious circle. I stepped out of the circle. I just did. Then I found I didn't care to drink as much. I didn't care to do this. I didn't care to do that. And I found that so many of the decisions I was making, even some things I was buying, I would buy like things online because they had a name. Then I didn't even care about the name, but I thought, oh, if so and so comes over, they'll think I'm cool if I have that. I stopped it all. And I became super vulnerable to what I fear and asking myself, if I step through that fear, could I be happier than I am? I'm working on that right now. All right, that's it for Virgo. Okay. Looks like I sparked some conversation with you guys. I was giving a bunch of different scenarios. It's time to be ourselves, to let Uranus liberate us from any of those chains that have kept us down, kept us blocked. Ugh, I'm done with all that. And that's why I think I have this Aries rising. Help me get through it all. Okay. All right, everybody. So maybe it's time to dust off our love life a little bit. Here we go. We're going on to our Leos, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. I feel like I should do a dance. Yay for everybody being themselves. Okay. Oop. A little shuffle, shuffle. Awesome, Dawn. Okay. Here we go. Leo, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Our first angel is Omega. Oops, the second is Ariel. The third is Mystique. They came out together. And then there's Teresa. Okay. All right, joining Omega is the frog. Joining Ariel is the owl. Joining Mystique is the fire fairy. And joining Teresa is the novice. Okay. For my Leos, Omega represents victory. She says, your desire is coming to fruition to keep up the good work. And I love the way she looks very celebratory on her hind legs to me. I don't know why I think it's a she, but I do. And I just feel like this is really very, I want to put it this way. I feel like Leo is being victorious over some of the emotional things that have come up for this year, for this year and for the transits, what they've been offering. And I've said for quite some time that I felt like, Leo represents the fifth house of romance, of creative expression, personal creative expression. We start with the first house And that is our the when we come into the world, we're still babies attached to our mom. We don't really feel that sense of autonomy yet. And then as we start to figure out the second house, our skills with our hands, and then we go into the third house of our communities, we start to see how we relate within our communities. Fourth house is how we relate into our homes. By the fifth house, it's all about us. How do we create us? How do we have personal pleasure? How do we have how do we express ourselves? And I feel like you are victorious as you release other people's viewpoint of who and what you should be. Okay. And I say that because, and I'm going to go to the final position and then I'm going to move my way back around. Teresa talks about taking care of other people and it burning you out. And then there's the unstable new beginning and the novice's skill without practice. So for me, I feel like this is the thing. Just because you're a Leo doesn't mean that, I feel like Leo's been under a little bit of criticism. Sometimes when people go, "Oh, you're a Leo. Okay, I got you." They think as you're ruled by the sun, you're going to come in the room and take over everything, or suck the air out, or shine your light so bright everybody else looks dim. And I don't think that's necessarily true. That's where I'm going with this. So what I want to say is, as you release that idea of dumbing down for others, allowing yourself to be who and what you are, I believe you're going to jump from one lily pad to another. And in Asian cultures, the frog is great. Good luck. And then we have, in the opportunity, the obstacle, Ariel, new spiritual experiences are changing. Well, sorry, that's not. Oh, yeah. Changing the way you view yourself and others. Allow yourself to open up to your spiritual gifts, because now it's time to look between deception and wisdom. And I want to put it this way, because when everything is so serious, there will be people out there that will say, "It's serious out there. You need to worry. What are you talking about? Don't be talking about frivolous stuff. Don't be talking about things that are just about fun. You need to be serious." I think I think it's the opposite. The absolute opposite. I think that spirit is telling you, no, don't listen to them. Listen to the truth of who you are. Because in the angel's advice is about creative action and optimism. The fire fairy. Leo is a fire sign. And Mystique is saying, keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions, and don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. So I want to put it this way, because I'm not talking about somebody who is literally going into a room as a Leo saying, "I want you to worship me, and that will help my ego." I'm talking about the Leo that has been, because that's not in balance. And I don't want to take away from Leo, but I'm talking about this is Leo in balance. This feels like it's about being able to be all you can be. You're to me, the most fun sign in the whole zodiac, because you're the only one that focuses on real fun. If we think about it, we're focused outside ourselves in so many of the other houses. And this particular one to me is about me. And I feel like that's what everybody is looking for right now. See me as an individual. See me as a human. See me as somebody who matters. So Leo has the opportunity to allow themselves to do that for themselves. To, instead of, when you're considering other people's opinions, really consider whether you like their opinion. And if it works for you, great. But if not, sorry. We need Leo to show us how to have fun and be romantic and to be on the stage and to be dramatic and to have fun and explore all those things. So rock on, Leo. Okay, on to our Cancers. Nikki, you are just having a full it's like a buffet over there, smorgasbord of food emojis. Oh, Stephen, Mars in the fifth house. Take action in your creative endeavors. What's your fifth house? I don't remember. Nikki's making me hungry too. All right, on to Cancer. As soon as I get done, we can all eat. Really eat, not virtually eat. Aries. Oh, well, then you have Mars in the natural sign. That's fun, Stephen. Okay. For our Cancers, our first angel is Ray. The second is Chantal. The third is Layla. Whoop. And the final is Shanti. Give it a good shuffle. Okay, so Ray is being joined by Merlin. Chantal is being joined by the Love card. Layla is being joined by the King. And Shanti is being joined by the Restriction card. Excuse me. Okay, so for my Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, Ray is to me, Ray is about connection to spirit through meditation. If you look at the face of the card, she says that yoga and exercise are essential to your well-being, and that could be very well true, but I want to offer it this way. This is not a yoga position, this is a meditative position, and she's taking her power chakra, her power center, energy center, and she is sending it up through her third eye to the universe, and she's speaking to them, the blue, through her heart, the green. Those stripes are indicating a connection to spirit, and it is time for my Cancers. I just want to say quickly, Jasmine, I go backwards. I'm on Cancer, and I'm working my way towards Aries. So Merlin is about balance. It's about pressure. It's about alchemy. It's about karma. And I want to say this for my Cancers. At this time, for you to feel the balance that you want, to feel the alchemy, the solidification of your wants and your dreams, it's going to take a connection to spirit. And in many ways, I want to focus in on how calm Ray is. Her eyes are closed. I've been feeling this aching inside of Cancer's heart. Like 2020 has been super hard on you. I think the isolation and the removing you from the various home environments that you have created for yourself. And a lot of it has to do because you're not being able to really connect with the ones that you love. Chantal talks about a new romance being offered, or or the resurgence of a romance. And here's the Love card. And I could go there and say for Cancer, this could be intimate love, but I feel like it's much broader than that. It feels like it has to do with love in many areas, because when I see the King, I'm not taking it to the male energy as much as I'm taking it to justice, the legal system. And then Layla is asking me to spend time in nature. And I feel like it's the legal system. It is our governments that have been your obstacle to love. This doesn't feel like an opportunity to me. It feels like an obstacle. And I say that because Shanti is here with the Restriction card. So your peace has been restricted. And I think that peace comes from, when I think about Cancer, no matter where it is in the chart, it rules home and hearth. It's ruled by the moon, our intuitions, our emotions, our feelings. It's water. So I feel like during this time, in order for Cancer to feel truly balanced, to be able to kind of settle into less of I want to almost say a worry energy, like when will this be over? When will I get back to normal? When will I be able to feel reconnected to my people? I feel like this is Ray saying you're going to have to connect with spirit in order to find the alchemy, the balance that you're looking for. Because right now, love is going to be, the resurgence is coming, but it's going to take some time. There's a pause. And then here's the King. The King is about the legal system here, about justice. And then in the final position, Shanti, the angel of peace. So as you surrender through Ray's energy to the restriction that's being offered us, because I want to say this, you guys, I really feel like there's another, there's going to be another, I don't want to use the word quarantine, but I think they're going to ask us in a very strong way to stay home in the fall. I feel like there's more than just the pandemic that's going on, but they're going to ask us to again be in a little bit more of a an isolated place. And I don't know why. I feel like there's a lot of very unexpected. It's almost as if before 9/11 happened, I had anxiety for 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks. I mean, really bad. And I don't have anxiety, never. So I knew something was up. And I feel like something is up, but I could never in a million years have predicted the events of 9/11. They were outside of my wheelhouse to even believe it possible. I think that's what's going to happen throughout the rest of this year. Things are going to happen that we just can't even fathom or imagine, or they're not in our wheelhouse because we haven't experienced them. I feel like in some respects, it's not about being assaulted by them emotionally, but it's about allowing for the disruption. It's almost like, the perfect egg is beautiful, but for that chick to get out of the egg, it's got to crack it. It's got to destroy it so that it can live. Something's going on with destroying something that no longer serves us. The chick only needs that shell for a while it's gestating, and then it becomes an obstacle. It becomes it inhibits its growth if it doesn't get out in time. And I think that's what we're going through here. So that's what I want to say for my Cancers. Now let's go on to my Geminis. Okay. I want to say thank you to the people who said they liked my hair, because I've been bracing my curls lately. Trying to blow dry my hair has become a real annoyance. Maybe I'll go back to it in a bit, but so I'm embracing my childhood curls. All right, here we go. Our Geminis. Yes, Elfie, I totally get that. Makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Wanting to bring your loved ones in, keep them close at home. Thank you, Small. Thank you, Lindsay. All right, here we go. Whoops. On to our Geminis. Oh, someone talking about Joni Petrie? I see Petrie there. Nikki, what was the last comment you made? Yes, Joni's very interesting. Joni is she does Vedic sidereal astrology, and it changes everything up. All the things we think we've already gone through, we're going to be going through with her. So, yeah. All right. For our Geminis, our first angel is Sonia. The second is Merlina. The third is Bridget. And the final is Rochelle. Stephen, you know what? It is possible. It is possible to feel an earthquake. That may happen when Uranus goes retrograde. So having that thought, you may want to prepare. What's getting shorter, Thibaut? I missed the comment. Oh, Dawn, thank you. I don't have significant Leo placements, but I do have I have Pluto, Virgo, and Uranus in the 5th house in Placidus. So I don't know if that means something. And I have a lot of Leo degrees on my house cusps. Okay. Joining Sonia for Gemini is the Letting Go card. Merlina is being joined by the Butterfly. Bridget's being joined by the Truth card. And Rochelle's being joined by the Frog. Sonia represents a deceased loved one, saying they're well and cared for in heaven and earth. I believe that when I look at this, when we're talking to such a large collective and such a large group of people, this is your team. Each one of us has a team that's agreed to be with us in our lifetimes. Some of them are repeated lifetimes. Some of them come in almost like high school teachers for certain chapters, aka lifetimes. So right now, for my Geminis, I feel like your team is very, very close to you, because when I see the Letting Go card, I actually think that this is about letting go, but not about letting go of something in a resistant way. It feels like something that you're ready to put where it belongs, something that no longer serves you, something that is no longer tasteful to you, and you're ready to say, I'm kind of done with that. And your team is here to help you get over the hump. And I say that because I have Merlina in the opportunity of the obstacle saying you're confused and indecisive. And I don't think it's because you need to do more research. I think it has more to do with running the scenarios of, if I no longer have this dynamic in my life, what will the effect be? What price am I going to pay? And it looks to me like you've decided to blossom through it rather than to stay in the same place. And I say that because Bridget is here and she sort of represents Pluto, asking us to look deeper into what is our truth. And what the truth is that Gemini wants to follow their heart and they want to feel everything that they want, and it's time. And I say that because in the letting go of what has not been serving you, you're going to feel a sense of relief, a sense of, relief is an interesting word because it's not like, oh, it feels more like it wasn't a decision that I wanted to make, but it's a decision I'm glad I made. That's what it feels like. And it feels like it could be people that are in your life that you care about, but they need to go on the back burner. Maybe they've been sitting very close to you, but their energy is no longer serving your happiness or your truth. And as you dig deeper into what your truth is, you know, we think we're talking our truth oftentimes, but what ends up happening is we state our truth, and then when we re-examine it, we realize that there was a committee in our heads stating that truth. We were inadvertently and unconsciously considering what my mom would think, what my dad would think, what my employer would think. When I had a job, and I contemplated wanting to work in a spiritual bookstore and doing readings, I didn't think about, oh, how fun it would be to have that job. I thought about, what will my employer do to me if I follow my truth? And that wasn't a pleasant story. So I want to say this for Gemini. I believe that your team is helping you to let go of things, and the committee inside of your head, at least in this place, in this whatever this dynamic is for you now, so that you can truly emerge from the confusion of not being able to sit in your deeper truth, and having a committee around you. And in doing so, I feel a sense of relief, a sense of justice, a sense of balance, a sense of resolution with it. It's like, it wasn't an easy decision to make. And I thought about it, but I know this is my deepest truth. And making this decision is going to make me happier, which in the long run is going to make everyone around me happier. So trust that, Gemini. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses. And for those of you that know your natal chart and have you're between 10 and 6 degrees of Taurus, this retrograde is going to be affecting you. It's going to be really influential on your chart. I don't know how. I choose to look at Uranus as liberating. I choose to look at it as freeing. I choose to look at it as unique and individual. And that can be a little alien to some of us. So we're going to look for opportunities during this time to release ourselves from those chains that bind. So here we go, Taurus. I get it, oil painter. I too have a I'm very easy for me to be by myself, especially when people reject me for my truth, because I would just rather not try to be what they want me to be. I can't. It really makes me not a pretty person, and I think that's because of my Aries. There's some rebellion in me that hits hard when people are judgy of me, and they're judgy of me usually not even from their own opinion. It's from, like, I remember my sister saying something to me about, like, you don't love God anymore because you do all this stuff. You play with those cards. I'm like, what are you talking about? I love God more than you do. I talk to God every day. I talk to God and the angels every day. When do you? On Christmas and Easter? Now, I'm in my human body arguing with my sister. My higher self would have just calmed down. But that's the dynamic. It's like there's a part of Gemini that's going to have to say, your opinion's going to have to go out the door if I'm going to be happy. All right, sorry, on to Taurus. Oh, Elizabeth, don't be sad that you're a 3rd degree Taurus. You've already been through your your Uranus stuff. Don't be sad when Uranus is off. Uranus is make us very edgy too. So, all right. Okay, Taurus. Our first angel is Shanti. Boy, has she come up a lot today. Peace is on the docket. Peace is on the agenda. And removing whatever disrupts that peace is the precursor. Okay, joining in the Shanti in the foundational position for Taurus. Archangel Uriel is in the opportunity and or the obstacle. Chantal is in the angel's advice. And then Teresa is in the final position. Excuse me. Wow, Gemma, that does sound like never a dull moment. Okay, Shanti is being joined by the horse. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the fear card. Chantal is being joined by the focus card. And Teresa is being joined by the dog. Okay, Taurus. Shanti is the angel of peace. She's been coming out over and over again today. And really what she's looking for is for us to claim our peace, to really look at what is disrupting our peace. And it's not about exterminating it. It's not about villainizing it. It's just about looking at it, identifying it, and then making a decision as to whether or not it actually serves us. That's what 2020 is all about. It's what 2019 was about. And really, I want to say from December 2017, we've been getting into deeper and deeper levels of our truth. And as these planets came together, they were asking us rather sternly to look, and then they became, I'm taking no prisoners. If you don't look at what's true to you, we're going to do something about it. So I think this is what the horse is saying, to go in a new direction, to start to give life to new ideas and new situations by moving in a new direction of how do I feel peaceful? I mentioned earlier with another sign that I've been having some challenges with this business across the street being very disruptive to my business. And my initial reaction was to take them on like the Mars warrior that I am. And it didn't work. I found myself villainized by the people who were supposed to be, I think, protecting and serving me. Thank you very much, Laguna Beach Police Department. And instead, I found them being very rude and dismissive, and actually, when I go to it, it makes me mad all over again. So what did I have to do? I had to go a different direction, and I prayed and prayed and prayed, thanking God and the angels for transforming my anger and my growing fear that these people were going to win. And here it is, Taurus, anger and fear. There is something about your peace will come from going in a new direction and how you are processing your anger and your fear. Because Archangel Uriel talks about anger, frustration, unforgiveness. And to me, that's chewing. What I was doing is I was literally, the smallest sound had me at high alert. I was constantly in this state like this for months and months. It was not doing me any good, and it was not productive. So in admitting to the angels, I'm powerless over my fear, over my anger right now. Help me to focus on love. Excuse me. Help me to focus on the bigger picture here. And I don't think Chantal is talking about intimate love. I think it's more about who do I want to be for myself, Taurus? Because this peace of mind, what I was realizing, remember, I'm a Taurus moon. So emotionally, I'm very Taurian. So what I'm thinking about is here I am twisting in my house, being all pissy and all up in arms. And all these people, they don't know it. They don't care. They're living their life. They're having a good time. I was hurting me. So how did I go about that? I started to care more about me than I did somebody else. And I started to think about coming at things from love and not about loving them. I can't love the person who's the object of my anger. It's very difficult for me. But I can decide if I want to be mad at them more than I want to love myself. And I felt like there was a volcano brewing up inside of me, and it was burning my energy out. It was making me feel even more, it was taking the things that I love and it was making them a burden. So I decided to recalibrate. And it's still not easy, but this is what I think is on the books for Taurus. For Taurus, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, especially if you've got a group of planets in Taurus, then the idea of moving in a new direction is going to be challenging for you. You're going to want to go down the road that you're used to, that stubborn bull a little bit. But at the same time, if you can assess if that road is really working for you, because if it's been feeding your fear and your anxiety, then the time is to focus in on the things that you love. And I want to put it this way, because if you can't, if you're up in arms, I've doing something neutral. Okay. I like to color. I like to paint. I like to do crossword puzzles. I like to do word finders. When I'm kind of in one of those places when I'm teed up, I do my best to find something to put my mind in neutral. And the neutral will then hopefully take me to a place where I can view things from love. And again, it isn't about trying to love the other person in the midst of their imbalance. It's about deciding whether you love yourself enough to harbor all that frustration and anger inside your own body, which is not serving it. Okay, there we go. And this probably has more to do with those squares between Mars. As Mars goes into the shadow period, you guys, I don't know how long the shadow period is on the top of my head, but it's got to be starting soon because we're already at the 9th and it's a month until we go into the Mars retrograde, which takes us back into those squares. So that's where I'm going. Okay. On to our final sign, Aries. I'm pretty good with my timing today, I think. Almost only a little bit over. Try to keep it to an hour and a half, guys. All right. Okay. Thank you, Rasmus. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, here we go. Our first angel for Aries is Shanti. Okay, how many times have we seen Shanti today? I mean, I swear, I think 9 out of the 12. I'm not sure. Okay, we have Maya, we have Bethany and Opal. They all kind of flew out together. All right. Brianna, I can hear everything my neighbor upstairs does. It's kind of interesting. I mean, literally, like so many things. Really bothers me. Apartment dwelling. Okay. Shanti is the angel of peace is being joined by the butterfly for Aries, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Maya is being joined by the lady of the lake, who has come out as much as Shanti. We have Merlin here with Bethany in the angel's advice. And then we have Opal being joined by the owl. So Shanti is the angel of peace. La la la. And then we have the butterfly. Mars, warrior, aggression, blunt, slightly rude. That's what they say. Some people say about Aries. I'm an Aries rising. Assertive, confident. It's kind of funny because I feel like the angel of peace is allowing Aries to rewrite that story of aggression. David Cochran did a video with Lada months ago now, and he talked about Aries being the truth seeker. And that resonated with me in such a way because that's where, if I'm going to be a warrior for something, it's the truth. And, truth is in some ways subjective, but it's also, there are certain dynamics that universal laws to me that are so, they're tangible for me. So I feel like Shanti and the butterfly are offering me an opportunity as an Aries rising moon, sun, and stellium to redefine how I think of my Aries warrior. Am I a spiritual warrior, or am I just a crazy warrior? And I don't think you're crazy. I think you're a spiritual warrior, because Maya is teaching you about your energy. And here's the Lady of the Lake holding the sword of truth. I think that you're here, Aries, in many ways, as you allow for the transformation to see yourself as a peace seeker, as a peacemaker, that you literally learn something about yourself and what the truth is. The truth is that, how can I phrase it? Because again, truth is subjective to each one of us about certain things, but I feel like the deeper truth is that we are all souls inhabiting a human experience so that we can express ourselves individually in the tangible way versus just the conceptual part of being in spirit. And so when we incarnate, initially we all feel together as one. And then as we individualize, we inadvertently villainize those that are not like us for whatever reasons. And I feel like what has happened is potentially Aries has felt villainized by being too assertive, too aggressive, too willing to push through the muck. And so you're going to learn something about your truth. And it's about that you really are just and fair, and that you want not only yourself but others to take care of themselves so that they can, this is my thing. I believe that if each one of us was walking closer to our authentic truth and our path, and I'm so grateful that I have the courage to be who I am right now, because if I was still working as an administrator in somebody else's office, having to go 9 to 5, I would be a bitch. I would be angry and I'd be resentful and it would be awful. So I'm saying this because I feel like Opal represents the child, but I don't think it's the child. I think it's the child inside, and that God is protecting those dreams. And part of our job as an Aries is to decipher the wisdom and the truth and to step more closely into that truth with every day that we walk. And I say that now because this is a year that is rewriting the the outside world, and our interior world gets to set the tone for what the outside world looks like. I feel like up until now, so now we can also go, so we're going from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And there's been a lot of material dynamics associated with this amassing of material goods. As we move into the age of Aquarius and we think more of in a collective, I don't think it's about, oh, let me be nice to this person, or like, I'm not using a good. When I think of the age of Aquarius, it's not about taking away our individuality for the collective. It's about being more open to each person expressing their individuality. And in doing so, we become more aligned. That's the way I want to put it. Aligned to ourselves and aligned to others. And in doing so, it feeds a new momentum. So for Aries, for during this week, the rest of this year, this transit in Uranus, about individual freedoms, about liberation, about anxiety, because it may produce anxiety as you step into this vibration. But you are akin to the butterfly, coming into a more peaceful place as you understand and you have learned about who you want to be as a warrior, who you want to be as the person that holds Excalibur, the sword of truth. Excalibur does not come out of the stone for anybody who tried to pull it out. Excalibur came out of the stone to the purest knight, the knight with the purest heart, with the purest of intentions. So as you allow to stand in this, allow yourself to stand in Merlin's magic of karmic balance, alchemy, you're taking better care of yourself, which will then create and give more wisdom to not only yourself, but to those around you. And I use that with Opal because in some ways, the child, I don't want to just go to small people. I don't want to just go to people with small bodies with less life experience, because inside each one of us is an inner child who wants to live, who maybe has not been allowed to. Okay, that's it for this week. I feel a little like I was all over the place, but it all plays out okay in the end. So I want to thank all of you who are here today, all of my regulars and my new people that showed up. Thank you for joining this tribe on Sunday. We're here to support each other and to help us learn and grow through astrology and through spirituality. And I'm here every week on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific time for messages from your angels. And if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can find me on Lada's website under the reader's menu, and the information will be below the video as well. So thanks, everybody. Want to finally wish Thibaut a successful procedure this week. We'll be sending good vibes to you, especially on Wednesday when everything's taking place. And for everybody else, sending lots of love and light to you all. Thank you so much for joining. It's time for me to say peace out.